Okay. Well, welcome everyone on behalf of the UL Alumni Association and the Lafayette Regional Technology Council. We're excited to host today's session today, Future Made in Lafayette. This is for those of you who are attending this call. Feel free to ask questions along the way in the chat. And then at the end, you're more than welcome to come off mute and ask questions live to our various speakers that we have, and we'll address any questions that we get along in the chat, as well as any questions live at the end. So first, before we get started, my name is Will Labar. I'm a vice president at CGI, which is a global IT consulting company. We're headquartered in Montreal, Canada, and we have about 750 software developers and engineers and IT consultants based out of the Lafayette and Acadiana region doing work for the federal government and commercial and state government clients. And also, just as important for tonight, I'm the vice chair of the Lafayette Regional Technology Council. And before I introduce our other speakers, I just wanted to make sure that everyone who was joining us this evening understood who the LRTC is and why it might matter to you. So essentially, the Lafayette Regional Technology Council was founded in January of 2025, actually. So we're only 10 months old, or 10 months young, and our primary goal is to grow Lafayette's technology ecosystem. And this was inspired by a trip that a group of our business leaders made locally to another community in Grand Rapids, Michigan, and we learned about the impact that could be made when the business community comes together in partnership with the educational ecosystem in a community and other organizations in order to help with various things. And so we're focused on 4 key areas here, and you can see them highlighted in the statement that's on the left. It's talent development, knowledge sharing, and business growth, and then helping market and promote both talent and businesses in the region, and then also advocacy. Because what happens in the public policy space can oftentimes have an impact, as we all know, on the economic climate. So when we launched the LRTC, we created teams that were focused on some of these topics, and we called them gears. And a gear stands for Get Everything Accelerated and Released. And that's kind of the ethos of who we are in our first 10 months, which is we're trying to focus on things where we can start making an immediate impact, which is what led us to create these sessions that you're attending today in partnership with the Alumni Association. Our first gear that we created is based around talent. And so we have different things that we're working on locally here in Lafayette and Acadiana focused on talent. The first is, how do we grow talent in our community? And that extends all the way down from into K through 12 talent pipelines. In fact, we have a team of about 9 people going to the Lafayette Parish School System's career and college workforce fair tomorrow at the Cajun Dome Center. And so we're trying to show up as many places as we can to raise awareness at the K through 12 layer that these careers exist within Lafayette. We want to make sure we're retaining talent. So as people have either moved here in the past or are coming out of a school like UL, we want to make sure that when those graduates come out of those schools or SOLA CC, that we're keeping them here in Lafayette as best as we can. And so this session is obviously right in line with that philosophy and what we're trying to focus on. And you can see there a couple of the meetings we had with local software developers and engineers and other folks to find out what do they think we need to be doing in order to retain talent locally, and then attracting talent. And so one of the things we're trying to do is use our partnerships across the community and sessions like this to make sure people who maybe have moved away from Lafayette, either to other parts of Louisiana or other states, are aware of everything that's going on locally, because there's really some amazing momentum that we have in the technology ecosystem here. And tonight's talk will actually give you a really great example of that across 3 different spaces. And we have an upcoming talk that'll advertise at the end of this that's centered around boomerangs and people who've left Lafayette and who've come back. The other gear that we have is around networking and knowledge sharing. So we are hosting events for individuals, hosting events for business leaders and companies, and then engaging with technology councils across the state to build connections across practitioners on the individual level, where they're sharing knowledge about lessons learned and things they're doing with different technology stacks or solving problems. at the company level, getting those executives to talk about, business-wide challenges that they solved and things that they needed to work through so that we're knowledge sharing there. And regionally, because obviously we're trying to compete on a global scale. In order to do that in today's world, you need to be thinking beyond just, the boundaries of your parish, right? And then our last gear is our marketing and promotion gear. And this is where we're taking some of the talent that we have within our member companies and really trying to use that to touch on things like attracting talent, driving awareness of the businesses that are here, and engaging stakeholders. And so you can kind of see how a lot of these things would overlap. Like what we're doing today is focused on talent, UL alumni, but also making sure that, we're building awareness about some of the opportunities in Lafayette. So the group that started this is our steering committee, and you can see the logos here. And we have member companies and member individuals in addition to the logos you're seeing here. But this gives you a flavor of not only what's happening in Lafayette, but the leaders who are trying to figure out how we can all, row the boat in the same direction. You've got technology services, SCADA, digital transformation type work. I mentioned CGI and the work we do on a global scale in IT consulting, a cybersecurity company with S1, school enrollment companies with School Mint. You're going to hear from Missy at Noble Plastics, so I'll let her speak to what they do. LFT Fiber, OM, LFT Fiber is our municipal-owned fiber network here. OM is our startup incubator and support system that we have in Lafayette. Digital Twin Studios does work in augmented and virtual reality. You see UL, One Acadia, and Alita. Those are community partners that are supporting us across different things. We have a representative from Google who's a remote worker on our steering committee, a venture capitalist company through Cruceris, a telemedicine company in Viamed. So we're trying to have a big tent here across multiple industry sectors and recognizing that the technology ecosystem is sometimes digital and sometimes not, right? And we think like if we can get groups like this together, we can accomplish a lot of great things. So I'll put this up at the end of the conversation too, but you can stay in touch with us by following us on LinkedIn. You can also go to our website, Lafayette Regional Technology Council.org. And you could sign up there to get our communications for the events I mentioned, or you can register your interest as a member, and we'll ask you some more information about who you are and what you do and what's important to you if you do that. But without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and introduce our first speaker. You'll see our lineup for tonight. It includes Missy Rogers, the president and CEO of Noble Plastics, Luke Butler, the operations team lead at Fly Guys, and Prabhakar Vemavaparu from XR Medics. And so I'm going to go ahead and hand it off to Missy. And Missy's going to tell us a little bit about Noble Plastics and the great work they're doing in the community. So Missy?
Thanks so much, Will. Well, let me start by saying that Noble Plastics is not a digital company. We are a product realization firm. And for 25 years, we've been rooted in making plastic components for other people. And so the industries that we serve are diverse. And I think it has made our success strong because of the diversity of clients and challenges and problems that we get to solve, as well as the diversity of our team. So I'm going to spend just a little bit of time tonight talking about the kinds of work that we do, why we think that diverse team has helped us to enjoy the success we have, and how much more we're going to need to bring these skill sets back into our region to continue to expand the collaboration that's so beneficial to the marriage of digital and non-digital technologies. Our next slide will show a little bit of what we do. We tend to make industrial parts. I'm a mechanical engineer by education and trade, and we employ engineers, technicians, programmers, mechanical engineers, electrical engineers. The hand sketches up there from an industrial designer, UL graduates. And when we're working with a client, it might be a local large manufacturer who needs some specialty parts made. It might be offshore or oil and gas looking for metal replacement, lightweighting, environmentally responsible materials for cross-contamination reduction. Sometimes it's an inventor And we get to do something really fun like a duck call or a fishing lure. And I think being located here in this part of the country, we get to experience a lot of that. And it brings some joy when some of what you make for your bread and butter every day are industrial fasteners, to get to bring a little personality into what you do. The work that we do primarily in industrial machinery for OEM machine manufacturers or an energy company such as you see here, really is about precision. We're replacing metal for strength. We're replacing metal for dimensional consistency and multi-component assemblies. And so a lot of our success has to do with using the right tools. You'll see in this next slide a number of the programs that we make use of. We're a completely automated facility. We have 6-axis FANUC robotics tending all of our machines. Sometimes there are multiple robots tending these machines. This happens to be what I think is our most complex system. We were a national finalist for System of the Year with this one. It's a pretty good overview for the kinds of skills and interests that our team have and that bring them together. That upper left image is of a fluid dynamics flow simulation and heat transfer model between the plastic, melted plastic stream that interacts with the steel tool to make this particular electrical connector. So we will have process considerations, we'll have material considerations, we have the robotics of handling. In this particular case, the lower schematic shows this is actually a 4-robot system. And what you see in the photograph is the primary robot bringing the bare wire connector into a visual inspection camera. It uses AI to find precision, the location, as well as some stress and resistance measurements as it goes to insert that into an injection molding machine. There are integrated control systems, feedback systems, sensors for the location of the insert, for where the tool is located mechanically in the machine, because the robot doesn't move, the machinery does. Part insertion, part removal, part inspection, after molding, part depositing, inline QC, process validation. There's a lot that this system has. It's something like 17 or 18 different software systems, all being coordinated and controlled through the brain of this robot and the programming that went into that cell. A lot of this came from, so much more than just a mechanical engineer or an electrical engineer. It's the more that we were working with programmers to get the not just control system, but the quality conformance, the inspection processes. You'll see in this next image, we actually ended up having to develop our own shop management system. And so we have both hardware and software patents in production technologies related to machine efficiency, plan, conformance to process. And we've got all this into a digital format that our personnel use on their cell phones. They clock in, they can send messages, they can see what their objectives are per shift, how they're performing against that. And so it might not be the first thought that a plastics company is a technology company, because the actual injection molding is not that necessarily advanced. It's just heat and pressure and melting plastic. But the precision, the speed, the high degree of automation have meant that we've got programmers, we've got data scientists, we've got hardware developers, we've got custom chips inside this plug. This is an IoT device that won us a national recognition. And so I think a lot of what we've enjoyed by being in this area and having the close association we do with the university is the resources, not just to help develop technologies through research or student capstone projects, but to have a graduating class that gets to see that they can do work like this here. Of course, I have lost staff to SpaceX, Blue Origin, Boeing, Lockheed, and Raytheon, all my customers. But it's a wonderful thing to be able to bring people into an environment where they can see not only will they learn a great deal, but it can be even the beginning of a path that opens up many other doors for them. This last image is a fun little local project from a hunter. And it looks pretty simple. It's a broadhead for an arrow for bow hunters, but there's a lot of technology in here. We had to do a lot of material development because this is a bait scented arrowhead. And so he wanted to be able to destroy the part with impacting a tree, stomp a tree or something else in a path, in a game path. We used medical class clean room dosing pumps to get the liquid apportioned correctly into this. It is a scented oil, sometimes a pleasant scent, sometimes a less than pleasant scent. And the automation to make all this cost competitive meant that we were filling, capping, and packaging 4 of these about every 18 seconds. So a lot of part handling, and I think it gives our guys a lot of satisfaction, whether they're 3D printing the end effectors for the robotic nest, whether they're developing the programs, the processes, or the actual part design, stress analysis, thermal analysis, all of these things come into play. And so Noble is happy to be recognized both locally and within our industry as an exploiter of technology. We are always looking for newer developments in controls, in materials, and you can see more photos or videos of the kind of work that we do through our socials. And thanks so much for your time and attention. We're happy to be here.
Missy, that was great. And I'll just put in a plug if anyone who's on this call or watching this video ever gets a chance to get a tour of Missy's shop, it's really quite a sight to see, and definitely not an opportunity to be missed.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm going to hand it over to Luke, our colleague from Fly Guys. And I think, Luke, you're going to take control of my screen here and share from your end, if you want to give that a shot. Excellent.
Yeah, perfect. Missy, that was extremely impressive. Thank you for the rundown. How's it going, y'all? I'm Luke Butler with Fly Guys. I'm an operations team lead over here. And Fly Guys, we are a local reality data capture startup. We're headquartered in downtown Lafayette. We've been in business for over 5 years. And to tell you all a little bit about myself, I'm a 2020 graduate of UL. I graduated with a bachelor's in political science, and I've been here for a 1.5 years, and I typically manage our turnkey renewable energies programs. And what that means is I'm overseeing the projects from the initial LiDAR scan of the site and producing those DSMs and contours all the way through the construction monitoring of the site, where we're partnering with key partners who deliver construction-based analytics to the teams on site, and all the way up until after the site's fully constructed and online, providing solar array inspections on a nationwide scale. And the future of data, it's in the air, and what that really means is we are bringing the physical world into the digital realm. Right now, data is the new oil, and these multiple industries are our pipeline, and we're helping bringing the physical world into that digital realm. We started with a local idea from our founder of making the construction industry more efficient and a safer environment, along with bringing better accuracy. And some of our first missions included golf course inspections and LiDAR missions in order to help with course management. And the idea eventually snowballed into a nationwide demand for aerial imagery and data across 10 plus industries. So here's how we work. We intake a mission from our system from one of our clients, and we have a network of over 17,000 FAA certified licensed drone pilots across the entirety of the nation. And it really helps us with getting coverage anywhere from Alaska, like we had just captured the floods in Kipnuk, Alaska, which is a very remote location, all the way to Lafayette. We do work with local construction companies on a daily basis around here. We have physical input on each mission to where we can ensure that we're meeting our quality standards across from check-in all the way to data capture and then data delivery. We have an internal QA/QC team who's making sure that we're hitting all of our specs in order to deliver high quality data on a scalable national scale. And what these companies are doing, they're turning data into decisions. They're getting very actionable insights. To touch on like what I'm doing with our solar customers is we are capturing thermal data and we're detecting anomalies on the solar panels. We're feeding this data into an AI model who is spitting out a report, a very high quality, very highly accurate report, along with the RGB data compared on the reports. That way, these teams can go out and make the necessary repairs in order to get their solar farms back up and running to 100%. To touch on some of the other use cases that we have for our business, here's our CEO, Joe Stow, and our new investor, Kevin O'Leary.
I've seen drone companies come and go. Most burn investor cash, and they fail. It's an old storybook, you know, there's a lot of drone bones out there in North Dakota. You just raised $13 million in a Series A1 that we led, that's the Wonder Fund, through Wonder Fund, but tell everybody why in the world even anybody needs this service.
Heck yeah. Well, first of all, we're not really a drone company, Kevin. We're a reality data company. And reality data is the physical world captured digitally. Think about aerial imagery, LiDAR scans, thermal images, accuracy down to the inch or even a few millimeters. It's reality data that powers AI models to track construction progress, detect crop diseases, inspect energy infrastructure, respond to public safety risk, and many, many other vertical market use cases. And all that data is the new oil, and we're the pipeline. That's $1 billion problem, and we solve it.
So you're actually an enabler that lets companies that need this really valuable data get it through the use of drones that they don't know how to operate, basically.
Essentially.
All right, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, so that's our CEO, Joe Stow, and I know he says AI a lot, and AI is used for a lot more than, you know, generating a weird video or even a festival poster. AI, these models can generate very lengthy and very detailed inspections. Our industry, 4 centimeters could be make or break between a highly accurate data set and a data set that is not usable. So these AI models, they demand high quality data, and we provide that on a national scale. And our kind of where we're headed is we're building the world's digital map. With every single mission that we capture, we're capturing data on a nationwide scale, and with global interest is just becoming a very high demand that we have been meeting in areas like Canada, Mexico, as well as in the EU with different partnerships that we have internally. We're providing data to anyone who needs it anywhere at any time with a fast turnaround. And here's our CEO, Joe Stow, talking a little bit more about how we are executing that.
Most of your customers now, are they all AI companies?
In most cases, yes, but we also have large-scale enterprise customers who obtain the data from us directly to feed into their AI models for different purposes. So for example, A large retailer can order comprehensive data capture of their facilities from us, then use it to feed AI models from AI companies with different specialties, like one for the roof, another for the pavement, another for the facades, the landscaping, the stormwater assets, and on and on. But for the AI companies as customers directly, we're really their partners, partnering with them in their workflow to deliver products to their customers. They connect directly to our cloud-based software platform via an API that I described earlier to ingest reality data on a nationwide scale into their models for producing the deliverables for their customers. We're the conduit connecting the users or the creators of AI to AI-ready data streams anywhere in the USA.
Well, give us an example. Why would AI be involved in rooftops?
Okay, for annual inspections for a company like Home Depot or Walmart, a retailer that has to inspect their roof once a year to look for defects, also to do inventory, to inventory what's on the top of the roof. And they'll fly a drone at an exact height and with a camera at a very specific angle to catch every aspect of the roof, and then run those images, might capture hundreds of images, and then run those images through an AI model that identifies the defects and might even create a work order. And then the AI partner of ours shares that work order with potential vendors that might go in and fix the roof.
Got it.
Yeah, Joe hits the nail on the head there. We're really this data pipeline, and we handle terabytes and terabytes of data. We just hit a personal goal last month of 6 terabytes of data in 1 month. For a typical 10-acre farm, for like a 10-acre base map, that's about 3 gigabytes of data. So if y'all want to do the math on that, we have a ton of data flowing into our platform, and what's really important is that we have, this partnership with LFT Fiber. We have very high internet speeds here at the office. Just today, I was downloading like a 400 gigabyte file, and it took, 2 or 3 hours. It's extremely important. So we have a couple of next steps in expanding our nationwide footprint to a global footprint and building this digital foundation for our industries. What's central to this is pushing Lafayette into the global conversation of emerging tech. Right here in Lafayette, we're in a hub for innovation, a hub that's very flexible and amending to the different needs that we have as it comes up. And we have a good hub for innovation and collaboration as well. Right now, Fly Guys is proof that major tech isn't just happening in Silicon Valley, it's happening here in Acadiana, and we're going to be a very big player in the drone industry. Right now, it's in its infancy. And to kind of give you all an idea and some of the talent that we're hiring, I come from a sales background, a lot of communication, soft skills that I carried over. I wasn't really liking living like a quota-based lifestyle. So if you kind of fit that bill and you're very good at communicating, if you're a tech-savvy problem solver, if you're relentlessly curious, to work at Fly Guys, you have to be dedicated to solving a problem. You have to be dedicated to process improvement, and you need to be dedicated to operational excellence. Our growth right here, it helps position Lafayette as a leading city for tech startups and other AI-driven industries. And to close, every flight that we do, it's more than just data. Right now, it's capturing possibility. We have use cases that pop up week by week over here. My job changes on a daily basis. I'm always looking for ways to better our process improvements internally to make things more efficient and have less things go incorrectly. The future is happening right now, and it's being built here in Lafayette. So that's my talk on Fly Guys, and would like to hand it off to Prabhakar with XR Medics to talk about how he's revolutionizing XR data here in Lafayette.
Thank you, Luke, for the introduction and great talk. Thank you, Missy. It's fantastic to see, these big companies are developed in Lafayette and working. And now, let's get on to the opposite end of the spectrum of where a startup in Lafayette, how we are, trying to use deep technology, XR, augmented reality, AR, AI, and computer vision to revolutionize healthcare, use it in healthcare applications. So yes, I'm Prabhakar, founder of XR Medics, where we are using augmented reality and AI, powered platform to do joint injections. So um, what is augmented reality or extended reality? It's basically, I don't know how many of you have ever tried a VR or an AR headset, but a classic or simplest example of an augmented reality thing is simplest Snapchat or an Instagram or any filter that we use on the phone. That's augmented reality in a nutshell, where we are using computer generated images and placing them in between on of real world objects. That's augmented reality or extended reality. It's basically we are extending your reality with something that's computer generated. So we call it that way. And yes, now we are using similar technology to do things in healthcare like joint injections. I mean, essentially we are working with needle procedures, but like joint injections, and we are also have plans to, get it into needle biopsies, cancer needle biopsies or thermal ablations. And we actually have a high interest from cosmetic and plastic surgeons. So we're working on spinning out a portion of our product to cosmetic surgeons, specifically to use it in cosmetic surgery. So what are the deep technologies being used and how are we using it? Like I mentioned, AI, augmented reality, computer vision and all. So basically, essentially what we do is we take a patient scan data, it could be MRI, CT or X-ray scan data, and we run AI models or AI algorithms on the data to identify all the images that we see out of an X-ray or an MRI to identify if there is an injury. And if there and yes, if there is an injury, then coming up with a treatment plan. If a joint injection is something that's required, then the system would ideally suggest a treatment plan for the physician, and then we will take the scan data, the analysis from the AI models, and then we will create 3D models specific to that patient, like 3D anatomical structures, like the one you see on the in the image right here. It's a standard anatomical model, not something we have created, but we are working on creating something similar to that with patient scan data, so specific to the patient, and then physicians can look at it in augmented reality, so they can plan the procedure ahead of time, even before seeing the patient, talking to the patient. Based on what the system says, the physician can get an understanding of what's going on, what they need to do, look at all the notes from the system, and then during the and then we are also using computer vision. There are different cameras on these augmented reality glasses, which you'll see in a minute. And we are using the cameras, the feedback from different cameras that we have on these glasses. And also we are working on our own custom needles, where we are embedding some sensors on the needles to do needle tracking in real time, because that's the end goal of the product. Because once a needle enters the human body, we can see through the skin, so we don't have any idea where the needle is. So right now they use x-rays or ultrasounds, but we are reducing the reliance on x-rays or ultrasounds and making a portable solution to track and see where the needle is exactly inside a patient's body. So let's see how it works. So it's simple. The physician puts on the augmented reality glasses that has all the information about the patient along with the 3D model that was generated, and it projects the 3D model onto the patient's body using body as a marker. We don't use any markers or the typical augmented reality markers. So the system can identify if it's a left knee, right knee, or whatever, what injection is the patient getting. And the physician can then, it feels like you are looking through the skin of the patient, where all the internal structures are, the bones, muscles, blood vessels, nerves, and everything, where everything is. And then there is guidance for them to, hey, this is the path you have to take to put an injection, and boom, they're done doing a simple knee injection. So what we're trying to do, we are essentially taking a procedure that is specifically done in an outpatient, in a special setup with an X-ray or an ultrasound machine, and bringing them out into an outpatient room with highly portable equipment, so it's easy. And also a procedure that takes about 12 to 15 minutes right now can be done in under 2 minutes. making it much faster so physicians can treat more patients per day, and patients can live a better quality of life, because pain is something that a lot of people suffer with, millions of people suffer with, and treatment mechanisms like these can help alleviate the pain and have better quality of life. So yeah, XR Medics, that's me and my co-founder. I'm the founder, and I work here full time, and I'm also an all but dissertation PhD student at UL Lafayette. I did my master's from UL. I'm originally from India. I came here, did my master's here. I moved to San Francisco Bay Area I was there for about 20 months to 2 years. And then I came back for my PhD, and I met my co-founder. We are friends for a few years now. And yeah, I got this idea of doing it possible. And then I approached him, asked him what is his feedback. And then we jumped on it, and then we started XR Medics. And the idea started while I was doing, like I said, I was a PhD student when it all started. I was a full-time PhD student. I'm still part-time PhD, but I was a full-time PhD student when it all started. So, I was working with my professor on a medical data visualization project. And so, then I understand what 3D data can bring to humans' perspective, because we are more visual people than 3D. Naturally, we will have the intuition of the depth perspective and all that. So that research that I've done, that I've been doing back then, was my starting stone, or the first stepping stone for XR Medics. And this is our brief story. I mean, we are still in a very, very early stage. Like I mentioned, we are pre-revenue. We're not generating any revenue. We are working on some investor funds, and we are trying to raise more funding to hire more people. So, in 2020 is when I approached my co-founder, and we thought, okay, this is an idea worth pursuing. Let's just get on board. Let's just get it started. So in 2020, it started as a research initiative for us to understand, because I mean, it's something that I thought, so I would obviously think it's a great idea. And then my co-founder, there is a little bias for him because he's my friend. So we were like, okay, it's not just you and me thinking that it's good. Let's just see what other people think. So plus, like I said, there is a lot of deep technologies that have to work synergistically to get this together, like, an AI piece, augmented reality, which projects things, computer vision that works in real time, and all the feedback, the tracking of the sensors giving us where exactly the needle is, communicating to the augmented reality glasses, and then accurately showing where the needle is inside the body. This should happen in real time. So when I say real time, all these calculations and updates in the 3D model that we project should happen in less than 50 milliseconds. So, there is some scientific feasibility that we have to check. So it all started as a research initiative where I was just going out, talking to people, understanding what are the problems that typically a physician has in doing these needle procedures, whether it be a joint injection, a biopsy. And also not just the physicians, but also, getting the patient's perspective on what do they think, what are the problems, why do they think they're in a lot of pain, and all those things. And in 2021, we joined Opportunity Machine, one of the members of LRTC, and that gave us a big head start in getting this thing off the ground. We understood how do we approach the process of developing a strategy to really come up with a company that will actually be profitable, understanding different moving parts in putting a business together. And then in 2022, we joined the local Louisiana NSF I-Corps program. Then we went on to do an accelerator program, and that's when in 2022, we were introduced to a few good mentors through Opportunity Machine, and they helped us shape the company further from taking the feedback from our customer discovery interviews. So, and then in 2023, we went on to get an angel investment through an accelerator program. And then we continued developing the software. So by 2023, we were sure that it's scientifically feasible. The technology is there. We can put all these moving parts together, the deep technologies together to get it done. And yeah, in 2024, we were recognized Tech Connect Innovation Award. It's a nationally and internationally recognized award that goes into the technology startup space. And we were fortunate that we got that same award this year too, and we were also finalists of their dual use technology challenge. And in 2024, we had partnership with UL, University of Louisiana Lafayette Local University, where I graduated from with my master's and doing my PhD. So there we partnered with a professor to do our AI piece, and then we won grants through the university to, you know, get the product development going faster. And then we won a couple of other awards in 2025 too. We're finalist at a global startup award. And yeah, that's the story of XR Medics. I mean, the reason I told you a long story is, this is how this ecosystem is developing in Lafayette, where we are able to attract technology companies, not just ones that are already in business, but new tech companies, deep technology companies that are starting up. And especially at OEM, when I talk to other founders in here who are developing two-way marketplaces or using technology and AI to create news articles, or use AI to understand how ear piercings are done, or use glowing paint to help defense, or roads and department buildings. So there are a ton of these deep technology companies that are coming out of this Lafayette ecosystem. And we are also working on a fundraising to hire more people with deep tech expertise. If someone has an augmented reality expertise, or who has working experience in computer vision, or a PhD in computer vision or augmented reality or AI, we are looking to hire those people working at XR Medics. And yeah, thank you. Thanks for your attention.
Thanks, Prabhakar. I appreciate that. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen here again. But really an amazing set of stories there across the group, from advanced manufacturing and robotics and AI, and the collection of data from drone imagery, and offering that to enterprise organizations and AI companies for decision making, all the way to augmented reality, improving precision medicine. So hopefully that gives our audience a little bit of a flavor of a lot of the innovation that's happening here in Lafayette. It's really exciting, and you even got a sense of how our startup ecosystem is being supported by organizations like Opportunity Machine and other organizations that are a part of the steering committee of LRTC. So we do have so I want to thank our speakers. Thank you, Missy, Luke, Prabhakar, for telling us your story, and thank you just as much for everything you're doing to support the Lafayette technology ecosystem and helping us get the word out. We do have a couple other events that are coming up that I wanted to make sure that our audience is aware of. The LRTC has a quarterly meetup. Anyone is welcome to attend this event. It's on the 29th of October at 5:30 p.m. actually at the Opportunity Machine, which is in downtown Lafayette. And I saw we had a good group of folks from Lafayette register for this webinar. So the topic's going to be actually tasteful use of AI, which I think Luke hinted at a little bit in his presentation. You can register for that at the Eventbrite link here, or this tiny URL. So you want to take a screenshot of that. You can also find that event published on our LinkedIn page. And then our next virtual session that we're hosting in conjunction with the Alumni Association is on November 18th. So you can expect to get some emails about that. And that's really focusing on the boomerang experience. So we heard Prabhakar about how he did his undergraduate here at UL, I think, moved to California, and he came back. And what's that like for people to come back to Lafayette after living in a big city, and the quality of life? And because that's one of the things we want to make sure people are aware of is that Lafayette has a ton to offer. And if you haven't seen our first tech session, It's called You Grew Up, So Did Lafayette. And you could find that on the Alumni Association's YouTube page. And it tells you about all of the great things that are happening in Lafayette from a quality of life perspective, from parks and recreation to infrastructure that's being developed in the city and the parish. And like I said earlier, you can stay in touch with us through our LinkedIn page and also register for our communications on our Lafayette Regional Technology Council.org page. And if you're interested in being a member and you're local to the area, you'd be a member as an individual or as a company. And so with that, I'll just go ahead and open it up for questions. Actually, I'll leave this slide up there so you all have the contact information. And just see if any of our attendees who are online right now had any questions for the group. And if you do, feel free to come off mute and go ahead and try to stump the speakers. All right, let me just check the chat too, just to see if anything came in through there. So I'm not seeing anything there, so we may not have any questions. So once again, I would like to thank everyone for attending, thank our speakers for making sure we're out there telling the story of what's happening in Lafayette and all the innovation that's happening in the technology ecosystem. And I wish everyone a great evening. Thank you for your time.
Thanks so much for
Thank you,
hosting
Will.
us, Will.
Thank you, Will. Bye, guys. Have a good night.
Take care.
Night.